Yeah, hello back. We're still trying to understand the article of Lewis on causation, and it seems about the idea is that we define causation in terms of counterfactuals, and that we try to deal with a particular problem, namely the preempting of causes. And I think you will say that here in a second. So let's look what he says here. What is the problem? Others remain. In particular, regularity analysis tend to confuse causation itself with various other causal relations. If C belongs to a minimal set of conditions jointly sufficient for E, given the laws, then C may well be a genuine cause of E, but C might rather be an effect of E. How's that? One which could not, given the laws and some of the actual circumstances, have occurred otherwise than by being caused by E. So C might rather be an effect of E. The cause may be an effect of E. Is that what he's saying here? One which could not, given the laws and some of the actual circumstances, have occurred otherwise than by being caused by E. So E could have caused C, if I read that correctly. Or C might be an epiphenomenon of the causal history of E, a more or less an efficacious effect of some genuine cause of E. So C may not have caused E, but C may have been something that was just accompanying the cause of E. Something that did not cause E, but that would have done so in the absence of whatever really did cause E. Okay, so there are a lot of problems here. We described them. It remains to be seen whether any regularity analysis can succeed in distinguishing genuine causes from effects, epiphenomena, and preempted potential causes, and whether it can succeed without falling victim to worse problems, without piling on the epicycles, and without departing from the fundamental idea that causation is instantiation of regularities. I have no proof that regularity analyses are beyond repair, nor any space to review the repairs that have been tried. Suffice it to say that the prospects look dark. I think it is time to give up and try something else. So I'm not entirely sure why we should give up regularity. I guess with regularity, we cannot really say that C has caused E. So therefore, he wants to go to a counterfactual theory of causes, so that E would not occur if C hadn't occurred. I think this is what he must have in mind. The proposal has not been well received. True, we do not know that causation has something or other to do with counterfactuals. We think of a cause as something that makes a difference. And the difference it makes must be a difference from what would have happened without it. Had it been absent, its effects, some of them, at least and usually all, would have been absent as well. Yet it is one thing to mention these platitudes now and again, and another thing to rest an analysis on them. That has not seemed worthwhile. We have learned all too well that counterfactuals are ill understood, wherefore it did not seem that much understanding could be gained by using them to analyze causation or anything else. Pending a better understanding of counterfactuals, moreover, we had no way to fight seeming counterexamples to a counterfactual analysis. So here he is just giving some explanation for what he's doing, not really adding much to the explanation in my mind. But who am I to criticize Lewis? I have trouble to follow why we do this. So obviously we say there are some bad theories and here's a better theory, counterfactual analysis. But counterfactuals need not remain ill understood. I claim unless we cling to false preconceptions about what it would be like to understand them, must an adequate understanding make no reference to unactualized possibilities? Must it assign sharply determinate truth conditions? Must it connect counterfactuals rigidly to covering laws? Then none will be forthcoming. So much the worse for those standards of adequacy. Why not take counterfactuals at face value? So, okay, we don't give an explanation for these counterfactuals, right? So we want to have an adequate understanding. So this is what he seems to address here. An adequate understanding. And it seems some people say that it has to make reference to unactualized possibilities. I don't know what that means. Unactualized. Which unactualized possibilities? Must it assign sharply determinate truth conditions? So can we give truth conditions for counterfactuals? He says no. Must it connect counterfactuals rigidly to covering laws? Do we need laws? Do we need physical laws to explain causation? I think he may say, okay, we don't need a theory about the world in order to have a theory of causation. Guess what he says here is that we can just derive it from logic, which may be what was formerly called nomological. Nothing of these will be forthcoming. So much the worse. Not the standards of normal adequacy. And then we ask, why don't we just take counterfactuals at face value? As statements about possible alternatives to the actual situation, somewhat vaguely specified, in which the actual laws may or may not remain intact. So it's not depending on laws whether something has caused or has not caused. So we don't ask if we have event E, by which laws it was caused by C. We just say if C hadn't occurred, then E wouldn't have occurred. And laws don't really play a role. There are now several such treatments of counterfactuals, differing only in details. If they are right, then sound foundations have been laid for analysis that use counterfactuals. Okay, it seems there are already some accounts that do that. For example, Robert Stallmaker, A Theory of Conditionals, and Niklas Rescher. Very proud I met Niklas Rescher. He must be 90 now or something. Okay, Niklas Rescher, again. He's a character, I could tell you. Okay, so in this paper, I shall state a counterfactual analysis not very different from Hume's second definition. So Hume's second definition is important. So it seems he really takes these two definitions as like these different formulations as two definitions. The first object had not been, the second never had existed. Okay, this is something he takes from Hume. Okay, very good. We'll get that clear. So then I shall try to show how this analysis works to distinguish genuine causes from effects, epiphenomena, and preempted potential causes. So why is the cause not just an effect? Why is it not part of the effect, right? My discussion will be incomplete in at least 4 ways. Explicit preliminary settings aside may prevent confusion. I shall confine myself to causation among events in the everyday sense of the word. flashes, battles, conversations, impacts, roads, deaths, touchdowns, falls, kisses, and the like. Not that events are the only things that can cause or be caused, but I have no full list of the others, and no good umbrella term to cover them all. So, okay, he confines himself to events in the everyday sense. Okay, it seems there are some other theories of events. My analysis is meant to apply to causation in particular cases. It is not an analysis of causal generalizations. Okay, what is a causal generalization? Presumably, those are quantified statements involving causation among particular events or non-events, but it turns out not to be easy to match up the causal generalizations of natural language with the available quantified forms. A sentence of the form C events cause E events, for instance, can mean any of. So okay, I think we stick to single causal events. That's what he's saying here, and not to something like the birth rate went up in China, and so it caused more economic growth. Difficult to say, right? For some C in C and some E in E, C causes E. So we have here a larger set, and for some events in there, for some C in C and some E in E, C causes E. So we are just interested in C causes E, right? For every E in E, there's some C in C such that C causes E. Okay, I don't know why this is repeated here. It seems to me that it is the same as the first. For every C in C, there is some E in E such that C causes E. Not to mention further ambiguities. Worse still, only C events cause E events ought to mean. For every C, if there is some E in E such that C causes E, then C is in C. Oh my God. Analytic philosophy. I'm so bad at it. Why all these strict definitions? Does it help? If only has its usual meaning. But no, it unambiguously means B instead. These problems are not about causation, but about our idioms of quantification. Okay, I have lost the train of thought. Better we take here a break and go on with reading Louis later. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you want to assist me in reading, and if I can assist you in reading. Help me to understand this paper correctly.